Hello everyone. Are you tired of losing money on Amazon? Do you know that more than 70 to 80% of the sellers actually lose money on Amazon, shut down the business, and they don't even know that they're losing money? Because there are a lot of things that goes into an Amazon profitability and a lot of sellers don't realize all of the hidden costs. So in this video I'm going to make an effort to explain everything that goes into an Amazon sale. That way you know how to plan your Amazon business better. Welcome to eCom with Gopal. I'm an e-commerce entrepreneur with businesses both in US and in India. And I'm currently scaling an e-commerce brand in India, which won an award as the fastest growing startup on Amazon India. So as explained today, I'm going to walk you through an Amazon FBA profitability example. I'm going to take a real actual example that I picked up from Amazon India and explain like what are all the costs that go into it. That way you can actually look at a real product and understand all of the costs. And at the very end, I'm going to give you some rules of thumb. So make sure you stay till the end. Before we go further, I would appreciate if you subscribe to the channel, hit the thumbs up. That will help reach this video to a lot of people in the Amazon community. Let's get started. So very quick background about me. Actually, I was an Amazon employee before. I used to be a manager in the home and kitchen category in Amazon US. And I managed some very big brands on Amazon in US. And as I told, I'm currently scaling an e-commerce brand in India, which is one of the fastest growing e-commerce brands. Enough about me. From here, we'll actually come to the topic, which is how do you evaluate the profitability of an Amazon business? What are all the different components that go into it? So to help you explain easily, I actually picked an example. So this is a product that I just picked up randomly. One of the main reason I picked up is because the price, yesterday it was $9.99 when I picked up, but the point remains the same. So since it was $9.99, I thought it will be easier for us to make the calculations. So this is the example that we're going to use. And before we go into each of the steps, first let's talk about the revenue component, right? So as a third-party seller, India, unless you are selling to Cloudtail, Appareo, you are a third-party seller on the platform, wherein you decide the price of your product, right? So in this example, I'm assuming that particular product is listed for 1,000 rupees, $9.99, just to make the numbers easier. And net revenue pricing on Amazon India is inclusive of GST. So this is where a lot of Amazon softwares, if you are using any of the Amazon softwares, Helium 10, Jungle Scout, this is where a lot of them get wrong, because in US, the price of a product, the customer pays sales tax on top of the price of the product, right? But in India and similarly in Europe as well, the price that Amazon shows on the detail page is inclusive of the taxes, right? So you have to back out the taxes to calculate the profitability. Okay, let's do that. In this example, the sales price is, I'm assuming it's 1,000, like as I told, to make the numbers easier. And the GST is 18%. What is the GST that you need to pay? It's not 180. Again, this is where a lot of people get it wrong. So the 1,000 is inclusive of the GST, right? So you need to back out that 18%. So the easiest way to think about it is just divide that by 1.18. If your GST is 18%, if it's 12%, divided by 1.12, right? So that's your revenue without GST, right? So 1,000 divided by 1.18. So that the difference is your GST. It's 152 and not 180. Okay, so now you're selling a product for 1,000. The actual revenue component is 847. I know there are GST inputs. I'm going to come back to it. But here for now, the revenue that we're going to get on this sale is 847. Let's go further. Now let's come into the costs, right? So there are multiple costs that are involved in the sale. Here, one of the assumptions that I'm using is you are using Amazon's fulfillment, FBA, fulfilled by Amazon. If you're using FBM, some of these charges will not be there, but overall your profitability should at least be the same. In most cases it will be worse than FBA, right? So but I'll here I'm using FBA. So whenever you use FBA, there are like three main buckets of costs. First is commission, the second is the weight based fee, which is nothing but the fulfillment fees, and then the third is the closing fees. Let's go deeper into each of those. Okay, so FBA commission is what Amazon charges for using their platform, right? Because Amazon is bringing customers, they incur a lot of platform costs. This is the charge that Amazon has, because as a seller we are using the platform. Again, this is where if you're using these third party softwares, this is where a lot of them get wrong. In US, the reason why it's different in India is in US, for most of the categories, it's around 15%. It's actually 15%, right? In Europe, there is some variability, but in India, there is huge variability depending on your product category. So there are subcategories within kitchen where Amazon only charges 5% commission, and there are electronics. If I remember, some categories in electronics are as high as 17%, right? So that's why most of the softwares just always assume 15%, which is not correct in Indian context. So that's why you have to make sure to go check what is the FBA fees for your category. Let's do that. So the first component, like as we talked, is the FBA fees. I have included the link here, and I will share this the link to this template once I get 20 comments or 100 likes on this video. So I will add this document as a comment in the video. So make sure you like it and comment on this video. So if you just scroll all the way down in this page, sell.amazon.in, and go to the category or subcategory that you are selling, right? And pillows fall under home, and you can see that there are like different categories, like home furnishings. If it's about 1,000 rupees, it's 13%. And you can actually scroll through this, see some categories within home are 17%. And if you see here, you can check the commission for your category. So here the commission for pillows is 13%, and that's on top of the actual sales price. It's not on post GST price, right? So Amazon charges this commission on your actual sales price. So it's 130, and then don't forget there will be a GST component for every fees that you are incurring, right? So the GST on that is 2340. Now coming back, let's go to the next cost bucket. So this is a big cost bucket, FBA weight based fee. So there are again 3 different components within this weight based fee. Weight based fee is nothing but the shipping fees. In a layman's language, it's just Amazon's cost of shipping your product from their warehouse to the customer. So Amazon splits this into 3 different buckets again. First is pick pack fee, which is pretty straightforward. It's unless you have a heavy and bulky item, it's around it's 10 rupees per unit. And then moving on, storage fees, right? So you're going to use Amazon's fulfillment center for storing all of your products. So Amazon charges storage fees depending on the volume of the product. So the storage fees is charged in cubic feet. So as of now, keep checking these because Amazon increases these. But as of now, as of time of this recording, it's around 20 rupees per cubic feet per month. And this is typically charged once a month. And around like first week of the every month, you will see the storage fees added to your payments. Now the bigger bucket, which is important and more complex, is the actual weight based shipping fees. Again, this is where a lot of softwares get it incorrectly, because in US there is only one dimension. The shipping is charged based on the weight and volume of the product. But in India there is another component called as zones, right? On a high level, Amazon classifies the whole India into north, south, east, and west. And depending on the zone that you're going to ship in, Amazon has a different shipping rate. So in this example, let's assume you have a product that you stored in a FBA warehouse in Bangalore, right? And if the customer is actually based out of Bangalore, and if the weight is less than 500 grams, then you just pay a local fees, right? So around 29 rupees in this example. But if the customer is actually based out of Chennai and the unit or inventory is in Bangalore, so that's regional, right? So Amazon charges 40 rupees in that example. And if it's national, if the customer is actually in Delhi but your inventory is in Bangalore, then you pay the national weight handling fees. And in this example, let's go back to our example and let's make sure we understand all of these charges. So the weight based fee, first is pick pack fees. It's 10 rupees unless you have a heavy bulky item, and make sure to account for the GST component always. And then you have storage fees. Storage fees, like as I told, it's incurred like every month, but here I just made an approximation of 20 rupees per month. It depends on like how many units, how many weeks of inventory that you have been storing on Amazon warehouse. But just for this example, I assumed around 20 rupees. And then the third, the bigger one, is weight handling fees, right? So like as we explained, weight handling fee depends on the weight, and if your product is actually, the volume is higher, you need to consider volumetric weight as well. But it depends on the weight and also the zone. So here the weight of this product is around I think it's little less than 1 kg, so it falls under this bucket. And I'm assuming I'm doing national shipment, right? So which means that the shipping cost that I incur is 61 plus 85, sorry, 61 plus 25, which is 86 rupees, and then GST. So now if you see, let's add all of this. There is one more component. So we finished the fulfillment fees. So first is the FBA commission, 5 to 15%, weight based fee, which depends on the volume, weight, and also the zone of the product. And then the third part is the closing fee, which depends on the price of the product, right? So you can see it's pretty straightforward. Depending on the price, Amazon has a different closing fees. So in this example, my price for the price range that I am in, the closing fees is 18 rupees. So the total fees here, adding all of these up, is 311, which is 36% of the GST, right? So just to make sure you're following, we are selling this product at 1000 and we got 847 after GST, and of that almost 37% is going back to Amazon for fulfillment fees, right? So that's high. And the good or bad part, however you look at it, is there is not much that you can do, and the only variable that you can control here is placing the inventory closer to your customers, the weight handling fees. So initially, as a small seller, just put it in one warehouse, but like as you grow, you have to get GSTs in all the other states, and make sure you put inventory closer to your customers. That way you can save a ton on shipping, and also the shipping speed also is faster, your conversion rate improves. There are a lot of additional advantages that come with it, but the main key advantage is you will save a lot on shipping fees. Okay, so these are the different components that go into the overall fulfillment part. Okay, and we are not done yet, right? And also keep in mind that we already incurred 18%, we already incurred 37, which is almost 55%, and we have not even included the cost of the product yet, right? So this product costs us to make something. So before we go there, there are like two other costs which most sellers miss when they are planning for a product, right? So a cost or advertising cost of sale and returns. Let me explain each of these. So if you see Amazon's first page or any product page, it has tons of ads, right? So like if you go to Amazon's product search page, like above the fold, I think currently you only see 4 organic listings and everything else is an ad, right? And if you don't have good competitive budget for your ads, you're going to lose that battle. So there is a wide range on ACOS depending on the product category, but for hard lines or which products are like more for one-time use, so Amazon defines hard lines as basically anything that is hard, to just say in the simple terms, but sports and outdoor, kitchen, furniture, home, right? All of these categories, electronics, all of these categories fall under hard lines. And for any of these where you don't have like the recurring purchase aspect, I would estimate around 10 to 20% as the total advertising cost, unless you want to be more aggressive. But for categories where there is repeat aspect, right, where the customer might come back, you have a higher LTV, those categories typically tend to have higher ACOS, right? So nutraceuticals, all the aspects related to health and beauty, right? All the face creams, vitamins, all of that have very high ACOS. And in India, I think you should plan at least 50% ACOS for those categories. And in US, it's out of the roof. In US, I know that a lot of these categories, you actually lose money on your first sale, right? So which means that the ACOS is more than 100% in a lot of cases. India, it's still not so bad. So, but I would assume you should to plan for ACOS in all those consumable categories to be around 50%. Returns again is a huge drag on your margins, and in India it's even worse due to cash on delivery rejections. In US the return rate is around 3 to 5%. If it's 5%, there is some problem with your product. I'm not counting apparel in this, but in all of these other hardline categories, 3 to 5% is a norm. But in India 10% is the norm, right? So you will have a lot of categories where you have like 15% returns, but even if you have a good product, your returns are around 10%. So Amazon India disabled returns in a lot of categories, but in a lot of hardline categories, returns are still accepted. So, and you get COD returns and then you get customer returns. So plan for around 10%, both of those included. So now let's come back to our case study here. So advertising cost, I'm assuming 10%, which is 84 rupees per every unit that I sell, and returns is around 10%, which is 84. So this 10% is actually a very conservative estimate. So if you're launching a new product, it's going to be much higher than 10%. So if you're keeping track, we already paid 18% GST, we paid 37% as Amazon FBA fees, which comes to 55%, and then 20% in these other costs, which is 75%, right? So you haven't even included the cost of the product, but 75% of the total revenue is gone to all of these different cost heads. Now, let's come back to the actual product cost, manufacturing cost, right? So these categories, like I don't know exactly this product, but typically 300 is a good estimate, right? So 300, and then you pay GST on top of it, which is 354. So now if you come back here, so let's look at the overall P&L. So the net profit, which is your revenue that you're getting from Amazon, and you reduce all of the different costs, you are actually losing money selling it for 1,000 rupees, right? And like as I told, there is a GST input component. If you include that, you are breaking even. But again, like I have like a lot of uh, very conservative estimates here. The advertising might be higher, returns might be higher. So if you see selling a product at 1,000 rupees, you are barely breaking even, unless like you get this product for like super low cost, which is possible. I might be having a very higher cost number here, but that's the reality, right? Like in a lot of categories that you see on Amazon, especially in India, the margins are like very less, and you as a new seller might even lose money when you're competing with some of the bigger players. So that's why I wanted to show this real-time example to you. That way, when you're planning for launching a product, you know all of the costs that go into it, and you price the product accordingly. Like I don't know about you, but I'm in this to make some money, right? So I at least want some margin, right? I'm not doing this business to donate to Amazon or to give all of this margin to logistics companies, right? So make sure you price the product accordingly. That way you have some money end of the day, right? So there is a lot of effort that goes into this business, so make sure you are compensated accordingly. Okay, some rules of the thumb based on my experience. The way how a very rough math to come up with the selling price is multiply the cost of your product with 3 to 4x, right? So if the cost of the product is 300, you should sell the product between 900 to 1200, right? So 900 I think is like a very aggressive number where probably you won't have much margin, and 1200 is more a safe side number, right? So whenever you get a quote from a manufacturer, so a quick way for you to look at how much should I price this product is just do 4x, and even like I mean like 4.5x, where you have like decent margin to play with. But yeah, I would at least do 3.5 to 4x on the cost of the product. And ACOS, like as I explained in detail earlier, 20% is not unusual when you are launching a product. And consumables, it's 50% or higher. Returns 10. Even if you have a decent product, it can go as high as 15%. So make sure you review all of these, plan accordingly, and build a successful product and build a successful brand and business. Thanks again for your time. Hope this is helpful. Like as I told, I will share this template that all of you can use once I get 50 likes or 20 comments on this video. And make sure you subscribe to the channel, and if there are any topics that you want me to cover, feel free to let me know in the comments, or follow me on Twitter at Gopal Kolli and give your feedback. Hope this is helpful. Signing off. This is Gopal.